Hello, welcome to my kitchen. My name is Sabina. I'm originally from Poland. I came to United States when I was about 18 years old. I would like to share with you all the Polish recipes that my family taught me how to make. I put a video together on how to make potato cheese pierogis. But some of my friends asked me to only make a video on how to make pierogi dough. So the dough for pierogi. Lots of people like pierogis and buying from a store, the frozen ones. Dough is really tough and thick versus homemade pierogis when the dough is nice and soft and thin. So there is few ways of doing it. The basic recipe consists of water, egg, salt and flour. That's pretty much it. Salt is for taste, of course, but also for the gluten to develop and all those little chains to come together. Water doesn't give much flavor. So what I do is actually use a whole milk and I dilute it with some water and about 3 tablespoons of butter. Again, some people like to use olive oil, but I feel like olive oil is more for pizza dough than pierogis. Butter gives more texture and the dough is more delicate. The other thing, a whole egg, no. Egg white makes the dough tougher. So I only use the egg yolks. My own grandma used the whole egg and pierogis were good, but yeah, dough was a bit on the harder side. Some people like to put buttermilk in pierogis and that works really well also. And another thing that some of the people who want to make pierogis don't know is that you need to leave the dough resting for at least half an hour. So once you create the dough, make the dough with your hands, or if you use a mixer, wrap it in foil and leave it alone for about half an hour, 40 minutes. That makes the dough much softer. All the little particles in there need to relax, be lazy. And when you touch the dough after half an hour, you will feel the difference. So it is an important step. If you skip it, yes, you can skip it. It will taste the same, more likely, but you will have to put more muscle into rolling the dough out. If you leave it for half an hour resting, it's much easier to roll it out because it's so much softer. Easier on your hands, unless you really work on those muscles. Thank you for watching and welcome to my channel. I have about 2 cups of flour and that is about 250 grams. So I'll just spread it around and I will just use probably like 1 teaspoon of salt and only the egg yolks. And I can definitely see the difference when I put only the yolks in. I like to have a flavor, so that's why I use milk and butter. Some people also use buttermilk, and you know, it comes to be very similar thing because I already have butter in my milk, so I kind of make my own buttermilk. It's a joke. And I usually have more liquid on me than the recipe calls for it because every flour is different. Different companies make different texture of it. Even if I give you exact measurements, it might not come out the same. My favorite 2 flours I use Trader Joe's flour and King Arthur's flour. So those are the ones I know and I work with. I have used a different kind. I bought an organic one that I didn't know. I ended up giving it to my daughter to play as a Play-Doh because it was just horrible. I could not get over the fake texture of the dough. Now, slowly, I'll pour the milk with butter and just mix it up. I don't want to be in a hurry. I want to feel it. I want it to incorporate nicely and know exactly if I need more liquid or more flour. And it's better if your dough is more wet than dry. If you have a wet dough, it's much easier to add the flour to it and still make the dough perfect versus when the dough is really dry and then you have to add more liquids. It doesn't work that way. Adding liquid to that dough will just make it so messy and gooey and you just end up tossing it away. Just slowly keep doing it. And I think now is the time that I use my scraper. Just a tiny more. I think that's enough here. And this is a wonderful tool to have to help you with the dough. Once you make the dough, leave it to rest for about half an hour. The dough will be much softer and so much easier to spread and roll it. It's a pleasure to eat those. So now I will just cover it and let it rest for about half an hour. Oh, one more thing I forgot to mention. When you make this dough, touch it, feel it, poke in it, don't be afraid. And within that half an hour, when you open it again, do the same thing and you will feel the difference and you know why it needs to rest for at least half an hour. I have waited about 40 minutes and you can see how stretchy, how soft it is. It is worth the wait, absolutely worth the wait. It will be so much easier now to roll the dough out. I wish I could do it like, they do it with the pizza. Unfortunately, I never learned. But even if I take it, play with it, it doesn't break. It's very elastic. It's very stretchy. And this is because I put the butter, all milk in it, and those yolks. Just water and flour is not enough to get the dough so elastic. You can be confident whatever you put inside, if it's going to be blueberries, strawberry, sauerkraut, potato cheese, the dough is not going to break unless you boil it too long, and of course it will break, but boiling itself should take about 2 minutes. Wonderful. So easy to roll. I don't have to put much force to it. Beautiful. And you could use a round either glass, or I have this metal thing here, and have this nice round shape when you put the dough and just close it up on the sides. When I cut those round shapes here, I have leftover dough, and the leftover dough I would have to roll it again and put more flour in. If I put more flour, dough will become tough. So I do not want to waste the dough. What I do, I just cut it into squares. That way I don't waste any of it. Whatever shape it is, it might be an awkward shape. I can play with that shape and make it look good. Remember, this dough is very stretchable. So if you push it just in the right places, you will make it look good. See how awkward it was? And now, nice and round. Again, close it up. Just go around once. And second round, push the corners in. Corners in, and you will have a nice shape. See, this is another piece that kind of is crooked, but again, I can play with it. It's very elastic and you can shape it. So first round and then second round, push the dough in on the corners, and you have a nice and round pieroga. And again, very awkward, uneven. And here we go. When it's so soft, it's really easy to maneuver. See? It will take some time. First time I ever made pierogi was when I was a little girl, probably about 6 or 7. And pierogis were on the table, I would say twice a week. They had to be there for Christmas, and we had so much fun with those. My cousins helped out, and of course as children you have crazy ideas. So what we would do with my cousins, we would put like extra salt or extra black pepper or whatever we found, and waited by the table to see who gets that surprised pierogi and make a face, and we would laugh. And then of course, you know, grown-ups would chase us, but it was all a tease and game, and kids would scream and shout with joy, running around. Just good times. I hope this tutorial will help you to make nice and soft dough for pierogis. And like I said, you can put anything you like in those pierogis. Spinach with feta cheese or ricotta cheese, blueberries, strawberries, sauerkraut mushrooms, potato cheese. So when I'm almost halfway done, I would start boiling water, put some salt in that water with a bouillon cube, because that bouillon cube will give me that extra flavor. Flavor and texture, two things that make a big difference if it comes to making food, good food. Once the pierogi start boiling, come to surface, 2 minutes. If you're not sure those are ready, take one out, try it out, taste it, and that way you know for sure, but it's usually about 2 minutes. Depending, of course, if your dough is thick or thin, because for a thicker dough it would take, you know, a minute longer. Enjoy making pierogis. Until talking about big muscles here. Woohoo! And it's all because I make pierogis. Pierogi should be put in once the water boils. Stirring it as well prevents from sticking to one another and, you know, side of the pot. Once they come to the surface, about 2 minutes of boiling, and it should be low to medium. That's all for pierogis. I hope this is helpful. Thank you guys. Smacznego.